You're listening to the Military Working Mom Podcast with Drea Jones, episode 43, Secret to Creating Family Chores into Simple Systems with our special guest, Ashley Buffa. All right, ladies, you are going to want some paper for this one. As I was recording it, I was taking so many notes because today we're talking about how to make chores, I wouldn't say necessarily fun, but make them a habit. Make them so your family actually does them. And when I say family, I just don't mean your kids, I mean your spouse. And this is of kids of any age. So, talking with us today to make the system work is Ashley Buffa, who is the mother of 10 children. Yes, I said it, 10. She's not only a mom, but she's also a business owner, a dedicated non-perfectionist of home systems extraordinaire, she calls herself. And she's just passionate about teaching overwhelmed moms how to transform themselves from, she calls it a minion martyr mindset, into really confident, capable, respected home CEOs. But I love talking to her because she is so committed to helping all moms, no matter who you are, no matter if you're working at home, you're working mom, you're stay at home, you're homeschooling, ADHD moms, and any other kind of mom who wants a change. Really needs that habitual system to get things done because she wants moms to realize and achieve a calm, peaceful, neat space that really feels like home. So without further ado, welcome to the podcast, Ashley.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, so it's going to be an interesting talk today. So far in this podcast, we've talked a lot about infants, a lot about babies. And now with you, I'm super excited because one, you have experience in the plethora of infants to baby as you have 10 kids, which is exciting in itself. But you're going to teach us on how to just manage chores around the house to actually get them done. And we'll definitely steer that into the military aspect since we're not always home.
That's right. There's still a way to get it done.
I know. There is hope with you. All right, Ashley. So can you just tell our audience that hasn't heard of you yet a little bit about you, your background, your family, and what do you do to get your kids to do their chores?
Sure. So like you said, I have 10 children ranging in age from 17 all the way down to 4 months. Little George was born in February, so he's so much fun. It had been 4 years since we had our last baby, so it's kind of new again and just so much fun. We're really enjoying him. So I, I've run the gamut. The first 10 years of motherhood for me, it felt overwhelming. And I was basically that hot mess mom who was just trying desperately to hold it all together. And one day I just decided, you know what, this is not working for me anymore. We've got to figure out how to get everything under control, get me under control, get the house under control so that we can start living a life that we can actually be proud of. And so that kind of is what started my journey into figuring out the chores and systemization of the household. And I tell you what, ever since we figured it out, it feels, life in general just feels so much better. And I think it's because we have a structured, neat, and organized home. Because I really truly believe now that home really is like the center of it all. So anyway, that's what we're going to talk about today.
Okay, so I want to start actually from your system and then branch off with questions. So can you explain what your system looks like at your house?
Yes. And just remember, as I'm describing this, my system is going to look different from your system because I have an army of 10 underneath me. So but that's the beauty of what I do. It's all based on principles. So it's not like if you don't follow things exactly the way that I do them, it's okay because everybody has to bend and flex for their own family, their own schedule, their own children, their own situation. But basically what it comes down to in a nutshell is we have this mantra that family means team in our house. And so basically if one of us is working, we are all working. If mom is cooking dinner, that means all of my little people, and some not so little, some are like a foot taller than me, but everybody's like pulling stuff together, whether it's all of these different things. It's basically whatever needs to be done, but taking out the trash, getting my laundry room swept so that it's a pleasant place to do laundry, picking up the toys in the living room, vacuuming the area rugs, sweeping the kitchen floor. Like everybody has a job and they're all doing their thing while I'm cooking. So if one person's working, we're all working. And then the beauty of that is that then we all get to do what we want to do, whether it's family movie night. You know, I've heard so many times moms telling me, you know, this is the first time I've actually been able to participate in family movie night because normally I'm off cleaning dinner up for like 2 hours while everyone else is like in the living room watching a movie. I'm like, oh my gosh, that breaks my heart. But, you know, we're all doing whatever it is together. So there's not any one person that's feeling like disenfranchised and ready to run away from home because they're the only person pulling any weight around the house. So, you know, what we do is centered around doing things together as a family. Family means team, but also one way that it's been proven that the best way to start new habits is to anchor them onto habits that you already have. So that's kind of how we center different cleanup times so that it becomes a habit and just becomes like this is what you do. We have different cleanup times centered around the different meals of the day, or you know, in the case of making dinner, because I make dinner every night, or I order pizza, you know. But when that is happening, it happens every day. We do eat dinner every day. So there's a bunch of chores that are anchored around that event, either both really before dinner, like while I'm cooking, people are cleaning, picking up. And then after dinner, there's the after dinner cleanup. And the same thing happens at lunchtime. The same thing happens at breakfast time. Like there's different activities that, you know, are centered around keeping our home maintained around basically each meal of the day, because that's what we can anchor it towards. We homeschool, so we are literally at home all day, every day. But you know, for someone else, you know, if you're working during the day, if you're on base, I don't know the proper terminology because I'm
That's
not in the
perfect.
military. But if you're on base and then you come home, like that's something that you do every day, right? You come home. So when you get home, that's when you would anchor, you know, a cleanup time towards. So that's basically the foundation of everything that we do. And it's just nice because it turns into something that's automatic. It's as automatic as brushing your teeth. And, you know, of course, the younger children still have to be reminded, hey, time for chores. But they know what that means. And instead of it becoming like a daily battle, it's just, oh yeah, it's chore time. Oh yeah, mom didn't forget, you know. So it works really well.
No, I think that's really smart putting it with something that you have every day rather than every Sunday you'll do this and every Tuesday.
Right.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I remember growing up, I'd have to check the calendar. Like, what day do I do what? Get to
Exactly.
that the next day. You'll be fine.
It simplifies it. Like why make it more complicated than it actually has to be is my motto. And I think because I have that motto, my children realize like I'm not actually trying to torture them. This is just what we're doing. You know, I really do try to make things as simple and as fun as possible while still making sure that we're getting the job done and getting it done in a quality way that actually looks clean.
So I guess my question now that we know your system is how to start implementing with kids that are already of age, right?
Yes.
So I'm assuming what age do you normally start chores?
So normally, and I have like different chores for different ages, but normally you're formally introduced into chores around the age of 4 or 5. And, you know, of course, not as much as expected at that age. It's really more of like the initiation and they want to feel included. But, you know, the more skilled work really starts at 6, but I'm always giving my little 4-year-old because at that age, they're actually pretty eager to help out and they want to be part of the team. So he's always coming and asking me, what can I do? And so, but you know, the more skilled work really starts at 6. Um, and everybody has, you know, their own things assigned to them that they're responsible for. And another thing that's super important, which I think this is where some people, most people really kind of get off track, is they rotate their chores. That's like a big no-no. You don't want to rotate your chores because you're robbing your children of the experience of building fluency. Once they're fluent in a chore, they can do it so much more quickly, so much more thoroughly. It becomes a habit in their mind. You could put a blindfold and say, "Hey, go do your chores. I wonder if you could do it blindfolded," and they would be able to do it because they have muscle memory. So if you're rotating chores every week, you're robbing them of that. You're making it harder and more complicated than it actually has to be. So that's another way that we make things more simple, is just, you got the chores, you keep it for about a year, and then you graduate to a different chore. But yeah, simplify, simplify, simplify.
No. Okay. So now back to my original question. So let's say
Yes.
for those listeners, this is not me. Trip is like 11 months. He's good. He does help with dishes, but so for those that have already started implementing chores, the kids don't like it. How can
Yes.
we switch to your system?
Yes. So the best way to do it is, you think of it like really as an initiation period. So you are really trying to make it as enjoyable as possible, without like making, you know what, you don't want to make it so that like, because you're trying to teach life lessons here. So it's not like, this is going to be fun and you're going to love it. It's more like, let's try to, we're all in this together. It's okay. So smile on the face. And I always like to turn some music on, some upbeat music. It really makes it easier. And then go for a 5-minute family cleanup. You literally set a timer for 5 minutes. You focus on one room. So if it's the living room, if it's the kitchen, for the younger ones that have trouble, or even some of the older kids, they'll get overwhelmed. Like if they see a room that's just kind of really messy, I don't know where to start. And some of us moms are like that too. It's like, oh my gosh, where do I even start? So you tell the ones that are going to have trouble, I need for you to take care of picking up all of the Legos. I need for you to fold all of the throw blankets and get them stacked in the closet. You're breaking it down for them, but you tell them, we're going to do this all together for 5 minutes. When the timer goes off, you're done and you can walk away. Work as quickly as possible. As soon as you're done with your job, either pick a new one within this room or ask me for another one. We're going to try and get the whole thing done in 5 minutes, and then you're free to go. However, if you're not working, you get to stay for another 5 minutes. And then you set your timer. And when that timer goes off, you release your children. Now, if the job didn't get done, which honestly, it will be pretty close to done, but if it does not get done, then, a couple hours later, you call them back in. You say, hey, we're going to have another 5-minute family cleanup. Cue the music. Let's take care of the rest of this. Go for 5 minutes, and then you release them. So you're helping to condition them that this isn't terrible. This is only 5 minutes. We're working together. The music is on. We can get this done. Look how much progress we made last time. I bet we can finish it this time. And you just start doing those 5-minute family cleanups until everybody, gets into the habit of cleaning with a good attitude, working together quickly, not focusing on being, a perfectionist. Just get the job done, get in and get out. Do those 5 minutes. And then once you have incorporated that as like a part of your daily routine, those 5-minute family cleanups, and everybody's really comfortable with that. It's not, you're not having to convince anybody anymore. It's just part of what you do. It's part of your family culture. Then you can start incorporating individual chores at different anchor times throughout the day. That's where you start working on getting those bathrooms cleaned and dish duty and all of those things. But really, the best way to introduce it is the 5-minute family cleanup, because it really demonstrates what can be done in 5 minutes. It's really not that bad. We're working together as a team. We're keeping our home clean. And I'm a huge fan of what I call phasing in for chores, which means a little bit at a time. That's how you build your habits, little bits at a time. You don't go, it's not like cold turkey where you go from no cleaning at all and the house is a disaster to like 2 hours of cleaning every day. That's not going to stick, and nobody wants to do that. I don't want to do that. So I can't imagine how much that would make the children panic, right? So that's that's where you get into this, big overhaul. And you're like, oh, well, I've tried chore systems before. It doesn't work. Well, it's because you've been trying to completely overhaul your way of doing things instead of gradually making small, sustainable changes over time. So that's really it in a nutshell. You start with those 5-minute family cleanups, and then you start transitioning into individual chores. And before you know it, a few weeks later, you've got something that is beautiful and it's almost running itself, and you sit back and you enjoy your house.
So I have to ask, how many trial and error years or months did it take you for that 5-minute rule? Because that's probably 95% of us, I'm assuming, is we're like, hey, it's not done. you're staying here, and all of a sudden
Yep.
they need it.
Yeah. Well, it's not just that. It's okay. Think of it this way. As an adult, let's say you go over to your mother's house, and for whatever reason, your mother's house is a total disaster that day. You walk in and she says, "Hey, we're going to clean the house today." What do you immediately do? Like,
Turn around.
yeah, like no way. What does clean the house mean? Like, are we talking about like deep cleaning? Like, you're not quantifying it. And so you immediately like panic and think, no, no, I'm not doing that. I didn't sign up for that. No way. You know? Whereas if you walk in and your mom's like, "Hey, I know that we were planning on going out to lunch. Could you help me for 5 minutes, just get the kitchen pulled back together? Because I really don't want to leave with the kitchen a mess." Then you're like, yeah, of course. Because it's centered on like one spot. You have a start time, you have an end time, you have a clear goal in mind. But so many of us, Saturday rolls around and we're like, okay, kids, we got to get this house cleaned up. Right? I mean, that's what every mom says. Like, we got to get this house pulled back together. And that's like, I mean, for a kid, what does that mean? It basically means mom is holding you hostage until the job is to her satisfaction, which could be never. I mean, it's so hard for a kid. And so they're automatically like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want any part of that. Whereas if you quantify it and you're focusing on one spot, they're like, oh, okay, well, I can do that. And of course, you're going to have some of the kids that are even then are like, no, I don't think so. And then you say, hey, you can give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes is like nothing. You'll see. Let's do it this one time. And I want you to see how quick it is and how much we can get done. And I mean, you can't argue with how quickly 5 minutes is over. I mean, it just is. It's done like that, especially when music is on.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
one
song and a
song.
half. Yeah. I mean, like, and sometimes it's not even a song. And then it's like, well, can we keep cleaning until it's over? Like, I kind of want to keep going. And it's funny because my kids have actually never done this, but in my group, the Freedom Moms group, there are moms that are like, my kids want to keep going until the room is clean. They're asking me, "Hey mom, can you set the timer for another 5 minutes? We want to finish this." My kids have never done that actually, but it's happened so many times in the group now. So it's really cool. It's the magic of 5 minutes. And it took me probably like 2 years to realize, because I mean, I did so much trial and error, like finally arriving at this one system that works so well. And I made that mistake of, hey kids, it's Saturday, let's get the house pulled together. I mean, I did that for so long until I was like, I'm saying that, and they're immediately like, ooh, just like seizing up. So there must be something to that. Maybe I need to quantify that a little bit better. And so finally, like I played around with different times. Well, what about an hour? Well, that still feels like forever. And that feels like forever to me. I don't want to spend an hour cleaning. I mean, if I
I
had an
think I make
hour of,
more mess in an hour. I just start like,
right? Yeah. And it's one of those things too. Like, this is how I feel about it. If I had an hour of free time, the last thing in the world I would want to do with that is clean. So, but 5 minutes is super palatable. And with everybody working together as a team, I mean, it's amazing how much you can actually accomplish in 5 minutes.
So I think I know what some of our listeners are thinking right now. We're like, hey, we have two working parents. We're never home. So those anchor meals are the weekend, which we just
Mhm.
discussed how the weekend's not always the best time to pull everything together
Right.
forever. So
Right.
for those families in the military or just anywhere where we've got
Mhm.
two working parents, we see the kids after daycare. So for those working parents that we see them after daycare, how can we still have that structure without the throughout the day cleanup? Now, given we're not going to be
Yes.
making a mess because we're not there,
Right.
but still hold them accountable.
Yes. So that's the big key, is you're not there all day, so there isn't as much mess. And once you really get into the habit of, when you come home from daycare, your kids immediately just go ahead, everybody does their 5 minutes, or everybody does their individual chores while parents are preparing the meal, getting it on the table or whatever. Like, that is the anchor, is coming home. Let's do this. And then you can also, so that is going to make a lot of progress if you're doing it consistently. Consistency is really the key here. Even just 5 or 10 minutes a night is going to get you closer and closer to that goal of maintaining, from day to day. And then once you really have your evening routine down, your, after daycare routine down, then you can do something in the morning. You can do 5 minutes in the morning. The same concept of it's amazing how much you can do in 5 minutes in the afternoon or whenever. The same really holds true during, when you're getting ready to leave for the day. And you're probably thinking, well, I don't want to get my kid up 5 minutes early. You don't have to. I bet you any money everybody can be a little bit more efficient with the morning routine. And I mean, it's honestly, it's a great way to start the day. Turn on the music. Let's get those laundry in the hamper. Let's get those beds made. If you have the music going, like, your kids are going to move faster. It's amazing how it works. Like, I move faster, even subconsciously. It's like, oh, okay, okay, okay. And so you can make it actually work without any extra time, getting it, done in the morning. So then you're making a little bit of progress in the morning. You're making a little bit of progress in the evening. And then on the weekends, there is just not a whole lot that needs to be done. There's a few things. You'll probably need to do a little bit of cleaning. I mean, I always have to do a little bit of cleaning on Saturdays and Sundays. We all do. We all have Saturday chores still, but it's not the mountain, that's built up all week long while you've just let it build up and build up. You're maintaining during the week. So then on the weekend, you can spend, 30 minutes getting stuff a little bit better, doing a little bit of deep cleaning. That's usually when I'm walking around, like, wiping off walls and baseboards from, like, sticky fingers and all that stuff, cleaning the windows or whatever. But again, get the kids involved and everybody's doing it. And then you're done. But the beauty of it is, you don't just have a clean house now on Saturday or Sunday or whenever you do like your huge big clean. You actually get to have a clean house Monday through Sunday with a whole lot less work because it's spread out, over the course of the whole week. Everybody's working together. And suddenly everyone's invested in maintaining because they start feeling the difference on the weekends. Hey, we don't have to have those marathon cleaning, sessions anymore. Or, hey, we don't have to, enjoy our weekend with, piles of clutter piled up because we're actually making progress and home is starting to feel like a really special place to be now. It's really, it's amazing the cumulative effect of a little bit of consistent work each day. And, I mean, it's not an overnight fix, that's for sure. Definitely not. But, a month down the road, you're going to be amazed at your progress. Then 2 months down the road, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I don't even recognize this place. 3 months down the road, you're not even going to recognize your kids because they're going to be doing stuff on their own. Your 4-year-old's just going to start vacuuming the rug because he's seeing his big brother doing it and he wants to do it too. And it's amazing.
So I have to tell you, I'm over here trying not to laugh because I'm picturing right now in your house, like, instead of an alarm clock, it wakes up to music and everyone, like, jumps out of bed and just starts jamming out underneath their beds. Kids of all ages.
Yeah, not quite, because I let my teenagers sleep a little bit. We do homeschool, so there's no reason to get them up at the crack of dawn. But the ones that are up, they are bopping around. So
So, big question. So I know when they're younger, they're motivated, they want to help mom and dad always, and, siblings. Now, when they
yes,
get older, what's the incentive, or do you not have an incentive?
I always try to incentivize because life is incentivized. I mean, it just really is. The harder you work at life, the farther that you go. In some way or way, shape, or form. That's generally how life works out. The hardest workers go the farthest. They get the most rewards. Um, you know, so we do allowances. I love to reward my kids with, like, staying up a little bit later. I love to reward them. It's funny, I just started this and I happened upon this method of motivation without really even trying. It was during the middle of quarantine when everybody was super duper locked down. I ordered from Walmart pickup a big bag of Reese's cups. We really don't eat a whole lot of sugar in our house. I'll make a dessert once or twice a week, but candy is just not something that we keep around the house. And so I was like, I'm going to order Reese's, but I had no idea how I was going to disperse them. I just ordered them. And so they come in and the kids are like, whoa, what are those for? And I was like, oh, well, I'm not really sure yet. I'm not really, I don't know. I just ordered them. And so then the children start spontaneously coming to me and saying, hey, mom, what could I do to earn one of those Reese's? And I was like, huh. So I start giving them like organizational tasks that I've been meaning to get to and just haven't gotten around to doing, organizing the toy closet, organizing the craft closet, organizing the pantry, because they all want candy at this point. They're all like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So in the course of like 2 or 3 days, my whole house was like totally organized, and all it cost me was Reese's. And so I stumbled upon this and I didn't even realize, hey, that's a great, whatever it is in your family that is saved for a special occasion, whether it's, an extra movie night, or actually going to the movies, or going to the pool, or even just like playing in the sprinkler outside. I mean, my younger kids, they would do anything for me to get the sprinkler out. So that's a great way to motivate too, just little things like that. But we do have an allowance because I feel like it's really important for kids to learn how to work with money and how to make money mistakes when they're younger before they leave the nest. And so even the 4 and 5 year old, they have, the only way that you get an allowance, you have to do your chores, you have to do them with a good attitude, and you have to do them well, or you don't get paid. So it's not just like, here's your chores, and we try to game the system. That's not how it works here. So, they're saving their money. And then, like the 4 and 5 year old, they're like, oh, I want this. And I'll say, hey, that is probably going to break. Like, that's really not a good use of your money. It's going to break really fast. They wanted to put their money together and order this blow up sprinkler, inflatable sprinkler. I was like, that's not going to last long around here. It is going to get broken super fast, and it's kind of expensive, but they really wanted to do it. So I let them spend, I think they spent together, it was like $40, which that's a lot of money for a 4 and 5 year old, right?
Yeah.
And it did, it popped. I think they played for like 3 hours. And so I was like, I'm so sorry it popped. You got to be careful what you spend your money on, because now it's gone and now you got to start saving up again. And so, like, it stinks. It's really, it's bad, but I want them to start making those money mistakes now. And even, the tweens and my teens, my 17-year-old son, he saved up, I think, like $7,000 all by himself.
Wow.
And he paid cash for his first car because he's been making money mistakes along the way. He realized, hey, it's better if I just save it. And he did. And so he's paid cash for his car. Now, that's not just on allowances. He got a job. And so, but because he had worked all of that out in his earlier years, worked out, the power of saving and what it feels like to like waste your money on something that is just not worth it, he was able to save that money up for his car. So I think it's really important. So that's why we do allowances, is to really give them an opportunity to make those mistakes, give them an opportunity to learn. The harder they work, the more money they make. So that is a huge incentivization here, and they have to do it like I said, with a good attitude. They have to do the job well, and they have to do it without whining and complaining and everything for them to actually earn it. So it does really motivate and incentivize. But there's tons of stuff. If I see a child doing, showing initiative and going above and beyond in another area with chores or with helping to keep the house clean, I'll just like spontaneously award them, but I'll make sure that everybody is around to see it happen, so that they can see, hey, he just picked up a bunch of Legos that he didn't put out, and he did it without being asked. And so now mom is awarding him with, a popsicle or something. I need to start looking for ways to do that too. It works really well. It's kind of like positive peer pressure, and they see that happening, they're like, I want that too. So there are just tons and tons of different ways to motivate kids. And like I said, I just discovered the Reese's one like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and that's been phenomenal.
What candy's next?
Exactly.
So I have to ask, we talked about quantifying, and you said, you have to clean well. Do you tell them what well looks like when they clean?
I do. I have SOPs in our house, standard operating procedures. And I do it for basically, I have it printed up for every task. It's laminated. And so they know exactly what that job means. Even cleaning out the refrigerator, cleaning out the van, cleaning their bedrooms, cleaning the living room, family room, the kitchen, the dining room. Like, there is an SOP for everything, because it's when you quantify something, you can't argue with it. Your kid can't be like, oh, well, I forgot, or, oh, I didn't know. Or it's like, no, you know how to read. So like, what's the real deal here? Are you just trying to be lazy? Like, tell me what the problem is. And so then they're like, yeah, I actually can't argue with that. It is literally black and white right in front of me. Because if you have enough kids, you'll end up with one that will argue with literally anything. But you can't argue with that. It's literally right there. So the SOP is a lifesaver for that type of thing, because then you go over it. There's a little checkbox. You can use your dry erase marker to check it off if you're super visual and you're motivated. I'm motivated by checking things off. So I love to actually do it each time. But that is the way to success, honestly, is the SOP.
So now we're all wondering where we can find these SOPs. So I know you have a course, but is that all included, or what is in your course for our ladies to reach out to, or shoot dads? Because we all need help in this aspect.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of dads actually that do it too. I had one dad, he owns a martial arts studio, and he found it, and he's been doing it. He absolutely loved it. He asked me to come and do a Facebook Live for his whole dojo to like teach them all of this stuff. So yeah, dads love it too. But the SOPs, so I have something in my course that teaches you how to make your own and has like a template that you can use. And then I also have, it's an extra add-on that you can do if you want my specific SOPs already written out. It's helpful because then you don't have to think about it. When you could read it and you're like, oh, but we also like to do this. So then you can just edit it and add your own parts into it. So that's an extra charge. But the course, it's video based, and it basically teaches you the whole philosophy, start to finish, gets your mindset in the right place, because this won't work if you're running around yelling at the kids, nagging. Like, we do not nag. No, we say things once, and then if it doesn't happen, then we have to take action. I mean, so it really, it's a whole mindset shift for mom or for dad, because if your kids don't have a good leader to follow, it's not going to work. Like, you have to be in the right frame of mind. You have to realize, I'm the leader of the home. I've got to drive this. This is important to me, so it's going to be important to them. So the first, it starts with mindset, and then I show you how to phase everything in, those family cleanups, the individual chore times, the SOPs, how to get it all working. And then I have this whole big module on what to do for all the different types of kids who are going to push back. I have a different video for like the lazy kid, the defiant kid, the perfectionist kid. I think there's like 5 or 6 different types that I have in there. And then I have, another module that's basically for husbands and partners. If your husband or partner wants to participate, this is the best way to get him involved, but there has to be like one driving force behind it, whether it's mom or dad. Like, somebody has to be the leader. It's really not something where like it's the joint, because most of the time the cleanliness of the house is more important to one parent, right? It's honestly, it's usually the mom, right? The mom usually cares about it more. If not, then dad should be the driving force. Whoever cares about it more should be the one in charge, basically, because they're going to set this. Exactly. Whoever it's important to, they're going to make sure that it actually gets done the right way. So the course, it's funny, it started out smaller, but I asked everyone in the group, I was like, let me know if there's more things that you need covered, if you need things. And so now it's like grown much bigger.
So there's a Facebook group that, once you're part of the course, you can be a part of. Do you have a free group?
Yes.
How can we contact you and ask you questions?
Yes. So the Facebook group is once you buy it, then you're in. And it's one of those, it's really a great group. It's full of mostly moms. And it's funny because it's literally like the only place I found on the internet where all types of moms can coexist peacefully and just build up and encourage and troubleshoot. I haven't seen any like snarky moms in there. It's like, where are they? This is weird. This is
got
not
their mindset all in chore mode.
I know. It's like, it's wonderful, because we have all sorts of moms. We have homeschooling moms, we have stay-at-home moms, work-at-home moms, full-time working moms, part-time working moms, moms with kids with ADD and children on the spectrum. I mean, it's the full gamut, and it's really beautiful because all of the moms are just really supporting each other. So that's part of, once you buy the system, you're in. And then I do have a Facebook page, Family Management with Ashley Buffa. And I have an Instagram page, which is at Freedom Moms. And eventually in Q3 sometime, I'll be launching a podcast too, but
Ooh, well, we will
that's
look forward to
still
that.
up in the air right now. It hasn't started yet.
Well, Ashley, so as we wrap up, I just wanted to see if you had any last takeaways for our military mamas out there as they try to now implement what they heard and reach out to you and just get our kids to where we are all staying together. And it's not just like you said, we're the ones doing all the work and missing out on all the family time.
Yes. So I just want to let you know that this is a possibility if you follow through. I've met so many moms who, for whatever reason, they just don't even think that it's possible. And it is completely possible. This is the way that families used to operate, 50 years, 100 years ago. Everybody just worked together and did it because that's what you did. And we can get back to that point again. You don't have to be the only person who does the work in the home just because you're the person who cares about it. It doesn't have to be that way. Everybody can work together and everybody should be working together. There's a study that was done by Harvard that shows that children who do chores as children end up being more successful adults. So if for no other reason than that, we should be having our children do chores, but it's an excellent character building activity. It's going to give you, as the mother or the father, a whole new area of mental health open to you because you're not feeling overwhelmed. You're not feeling like a martyr anymore. Like, why am I the only person who is doing this? Why am I the only person that cares? It's going to make you a better mom. It's going to make you a better woman. It's going to make you probably even more productive at your own job. I mean, that's how I am. I work in the afternoons and I am so much more efficient in my job because my home is under control and I'm not thinking like, oh shoot, I'm so behind on laundry. What am I going to make for dinner? I just stepped on a Lego and it hurts really bad. It just makes you better in every area when your home is like your center and it's your grounding area and it's where you go to recharge because it's clean, it's neat, it's organized, and you didn't have to do it all yourself.
Well, we all have hope now, and especially if you
Yes,
can do it with 10 kiddos, we can do it with our number, whatever that
you
is.
really can, I promise.
Well, thank you so much, Ashley, for being on. I know I'm going to re-listen to this episode over and over as Trip grows up, and you'll be hearing from me soon. But thank you.
Yes,
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom.
you're very welcome. Thanks for
She's
having
good,
me.
right? Like, there's just some mind-blowing tips in there that she had that you think we would have had by now, like we would have thought of. But yeah, definitely never did. So let's just recap a few, but everything is going to be in the episode notes. So to recap a few, she says her mantra is family means together, which means no matter if one person's cleaning or two people cleaning, everybody's cleaning. And to not make that so overwhelming, 5-minute increments over and over again spread out throughout the day and focus on one room. Honestly, even myself, I was unpacking my household goods today. I think that would have been a good thing because I was bouncing room to room to room. So she is so spot on with sticking with a single room, focusing for 5 minutes, and then cutting it off to just decompress and have fun. And then probably the best one that I don't want to leave without here saying is to not rotate chores. Now, you probably remember growing up, one person having loading, one person unloading the dishwasher, washing clothes, drying clothes, whatever it may be. And yeah, you rotated. But it makes so much sense to stick with it for a long period of time in order for you to perfect it, streamline it, get it down real good and be proud of that, and then move on to the next. So I think that is absolutely essential to making it work and making it habits. And then for us military working moms, those anchor points can kind of be wishy-washy, but there's a few things that happen every single day that I'm going to leave you with. So 1 is when we wake up. 2 is when you come home. And 3 is before you go to bed. So those are 3 things that you do every single night. They're around the same time every night as long as your shift doesn't change that often. But that is something that can be an anchor point throughout your days to focus those chores on. So I hope you took something away from this. Go visit Ashley's site, Freedom Moms. It is all in the episode notes that can be found at themilitaryworkingmom.com/episode 043. Thank you for listening to the Military Working Mom podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please click subscribe and leave a review to help us reach more military moms just like you. And then to save time and receive posts as soon as they come out, join our email list at www.themilitaryworkingmom.com and follow The Military Working Mom on Facebook to join our community of women as we discuss topics, ask questions, and share stories in a safe, judge-free environment. We are here to provide you with answers you need. Don't forget to join us next week as we continue to help you navigate your mom, wife, and military life.